Hey, JulesBlessedVegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. What? Seriously? I'm too far away now? Really? Because everybody criticizes me for being way too close. And I just feel like this is intimate, right? Where you have my undivided attention. I am completely present for you. That's too far back. And then like, oh, but all professionals say move back. I'll try and find a happy medium. How about here? Is this okay? You know, these people who so readily lend me their criticism aren't exactly producing content every day, no matter what, right? Don't even get me started on the boring wall in the back. I'm like in a different room, obviously. My lighting isn't hooked up yet. I just thought, you know what? Boring wall, still have my hotness, right? I mean, come on. Bear with me, people. I am in transition, but I will find my way. Thanks for checking in. So anyway, we're in the middle of Self-Care September, and it is 30 days of wonderful and taking care of yourself completely free. If you're just joining us, it doesn't matter if it's September, it doesn't matter what day it is, just know that there are 30 days of content helping you to care for yourself. So yesterday, which was day 24, it was ask a trusted friend to tell you what they like about you. And I did ask a trusted friend, and it was very sweet. I said, just tell me one thing. I'm not being arrogant. I'm in the middle of Self-Care September, and can you just tell me one thing that you like about me? And what they said was they liked my enthusiasm, the way that I have passion for whatever it is, whether it's excitement for others, excitement for myself, a new project, a idea or concept, whatever it is. I tend to have enthusiasm, and I definitely have passion, and I love that. And I'm glad I asked, and that's all. I just said, please, just one thing. I will absolutely accept that. So yeah, if you haven't had a chance, ask a trusted friend. You know, somebody who's not going to overly flatter you for no reason. What is it that they like about you? All right, so for tomorrow, the 25th day, which is exactly 3 months before Christmas. So be a gift to yourself. And this is what it is. And this is what I needed yesterday. If you've been following me at all, I had just talked about this. It says, release yourself from inner demands and self-criticism. Release yourself from inner demands and self-criticism. Well, if that isn't a Christmas gift, I don't know what is. Like, honestly, that has to be a gift to yourself. Release yourself from inner demands and self-criticism. I majored in both. Like, honestly, yes, I have a master's. I even started a doctorate, but I absolutely majored, unfortunately, in inner demands and self-criticism. But yeah, it's something that was modeled for me, and it's definitely something my father, maybe more than my mother, but most certainly my father, required of himself. And I absolutely watched that my entire life unfold. And unfortunately, it's one of those things that I took upon myself. So I would love to release those inner demands and self-criticisms. I'm in the thick of it, you know, honestly. Like, I'm in the middle of virtual teaching. I'm in the middle of online parent-teacher conferences, 32 of them in 3 days. You know, I'm in the middle of creating progress reports, of course, like all those things. And I'm also caring for myself. And the caring for myself, believe it or not, is becoming almost secondary in my stress because I'm just doing it. You know, I've accepted that every single day, at some point, at least once and maybe more than once, every single day, I will be overwhelmed by a desire or temptation to not care for myself. Luckily, if I just wait it out, I tend to make my way through and not act on it. And I'm so grateful for that. But as I'm busy teaching and doing all the things that I'm doing, I am just freaking out on myself. Like, it is just so much easier to blame myself. Like, somebody has to be blamed, right? Isn't that the way of the world? Someone has to be blamed. I am just like, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you. Like, I have fist in, you know, my hands in fists. I'm just spazzing out in a very brief period of time. Luckily, I do let it go, but in that moment, it is so intense and so ugly. And I apologize to God because, of course, He's completely privy to all of it. And I apologize to myself. I'm just like, oh my gosh, the dialogue is so vicious and so ugly and so immediate because it's in my head, this running reel of criticism and nonsense while I'm performing, while I'm smiling, while I'm doing all that I'm required to do. And it's just really unfortunate. And the level of it is astounding. I'm even shocked myself. I'm just like, are you kidding that you just put me through that? Which is kind of funny. When I think of people who literally have mental illness and by all accounts they're talking to themselves and everything else, I always talk to myself like, who's more intelligent to process with than me? So I often talk to myself. I attribute it to talking to God, no doubt. But my husband's like, you do know that you're talking out loud right now, right? Yes, I do. In the classroom, it's a situation where I'm the only adult in the room and I don't know who else to process with. But you know what? That's just my natural thing. But when it becomes ugly, when it becomes putting myself down, when it becomes verbally abusive to myself, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And it may be a series of things. Like I just haven't been sleeping for some time. And I'll say for 7 weeks, right? Since school started. For like 7 weeks, I have been on edge. It's interesting as a teacher, like people always say, oh my gosh, teachers have it so easy, right? They only work 180 days out of the year. They have weekends off, they get holidays. But I'll tell you the mindset of a dedicated teacher, and I feel like I can speak with authority. It is my 26th year of formal teaching, but even before that, I certainly had student teaching, and I was even a preschool teacher for a few years before that. So for me, not only is a teacher already anxious about the upcoming school year, about 3 weeks in, maybe 4 weeks before the school even resumes. But even trying to let go of the previous school year takes about 3 weeks, or maybe even a month. Well, you only get about 8 weeks off anyway. So it's an interesting process that almost all of that time is still concerned. Talk to any teacher. They're dreaming about their kids. They're having stress dreams about their kids. And then we're in a situation where we're kind of in a holding pattern, if you will, because most of us do not have students in the classroom. And that is such an interesting thing because in my mind, I still have my students from last year that I never had closure with. And yet I very much have 32 new students that of course I'm giving my all to, but some part of me is incomplete and still trying to find closure, which will never happen for a class that suddenly was dismissed in March and had to find their way to 7th grade without me, right? So interesting. So anyway, that's just kind of the situation we're in. But anyway, that's where I've been. Like, I talk in my sleep. I'm up half the night. I get to bed at 1. I'm up at 4 or 5 for various reasons. It's just a very incredible time, and I think because of that, I'm so grateful that by all accounts I'm taking care of myself in the sense that I'm getting in my 16 cups of water. I am eating properly. I am eating raw vegan. I rarely have anything cooked. And will that be forever? It may be. I really enjoy that. It's best for me. But it's most certainly true while I'm trying to release this excess weight. And I'm happy to do it. But a part of me is so insanely stressed out. And it is manifesting itself within me. I mean, I hope I'm not being short with other people. I hope I'm still being appropriate. Of course, my family will say, Jules, every time we call, you say you're in it and you don't have time to talk. Well, that's not good. I'm sorry for that because the people, by all accounts, I should give my undivided attention to is my family, right? I love them so much. But That's just kind of where I am. So release yourself from inner demands and self-criticism. That's not just a desire, it's a prayer. And I'll say with that, that years ago, because I came from such a hypercritical background, and I'm not saying anything bad about my belly button family. It's just sort of the way we operated. And I think it was a time where people thought to be critical, to be hard, would inspire people to try their best. I think depending on the child and how sensitive they are by nature, it may or may not work, okay? But there was a lot of that, okay? A lot of put downs with the thought that it would make me strive to be even more. When in fact, for some of us, it just broke us. It made us broken. Sadly, like I said, my inner voice, my monkey mind, my inner child adopted a lot of those behaviors for me. And I am all too good at that criticism. So another thing, because I came from such a critical environment, I perceived the world in a very critical way. And it was super easy for me to just, even if I didn't say it aloud, put people down. Certainly from my youngest age, I mean, even kindergarten, let alone 8th grade, people would say that I was condescending, which was classic. I mean, talk about giving your power away. How can the principal say that I'm condescending? Like, hello, you're the principal. Own your position, right? But yes, they would call home and say, your daughter's being very condescending. And my father would be like, you're the adult in the room, like seriously? And my father was a principal and administrator as well. But that being said, when I got into the world at like 16, 17, and certainly 18, 19, 20, and realized that not everybody was as hypercritical as me of others. Not everybody perceived everybody, and forgive me, what would it be? I don't know how else to say it. Thinking everyone's a dumbass, okay? Thinking everybody is less than. Like, there was a lot of that. There really was. I just kind of came from that. I was super able, and I just saw everybody else as just like, whatever. Okay, so by grace, literally, I had to pray for a compassionate heart. I had to actively pray for God to change my mindset and my heart and allow me to see people as only beautiful, to see people as only on their path and worthy. Again, God doesn't make junk. And over a period of 1 or 2 years, I grew into that heart. And I actually started to be able to see people's inner child. Like when I'd see people on the news giving a news report in the middle of an emergency, when I'd see a police captain talking, or different people of authority, I could actually see them convert into their inner child, that scared little person, trying to be such a grown-up. It was a fascinating morphing, if you will. And that is still a gift that I have. I don't tap into it all the time. It's a lot of responsibility, but I still have that. Anyway, so my new thing is literally praying for the grace of just self-acceptance to allow me to, again, get out of myself and serve people even greater. Because obviously, if I'm busy criticizing myself and focusing on my deficits, defective characters, whatever you want to call it, then I am not looking outward at those that I'm called to love and serve. I mean, that's straight up, right? So that's kind of leveling up and asking God for the grace to let go of my nonsense, which He absolutely created me for a purpose, and I need to know that that's okay, and have more time, again, to just look outward and to love and serve others. So that's what that means to me. I'm sure whoever wrote this for self-care thought it was far less profound than what I just made it. But that's where I go, all right? All right, last thing before I go is a report on my Invisalign. I put in a new pair. Today's month 2. Who knew? I made it 2 months with what I wanted to throw out since day 1. For about 10 days out of every 2 weeks, they don't hurt that much. What I'm grateful for about them is that I get a new pair every 2 weeks, because what I'm not grateful for is how easily they get ruined. They get ruined so easily because they take on color, right? So, in fact, I think I have a pair in the trash. Hold on, humor me for a second. Yeah, I think I threw, I may have already emptied it. Oh, no. Okay, yeah, look at this. You will not even believe it. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. As careful as I am, and believe me, I am. So I'll drink my lemon water in the morning. I'll have my turmeric in it and whatever. And I don't obviously have my Invisalign in. I will totally brush my teeth, scrub my tongue, rinse, rinse, rinse. Even still, I end up getting color. And these aren't even as bad as some of them. Now, I'm a grown-up, and I imagine most women would choose to wear lipstick. And again, I totally get the lipstick off the inner part. I clean my thing to make sure there's no lipstick on it. And these end up in a very short period of time, not only turning yellow, no matter what, but also look at all the red in the front from this lipstick. I guess, I can only presume it's from lipstick. So that's distressing to me. I totally soak them in vinegar and baking soda, which makes that whole fun foam volcano type thing. And there's nothing I can do. So by about day 10 through 14, I want to cry because my teeth look filthy. And that's just the process. I don't know. Again, I get that I'm privileged. I get that this was a personal choice that I chose to do. I didn't know what I was committing to. Even when they finally take all the junk they put on my real teeth, they're going to have to grind the stuff off. I'm all in. Okay, we're 2 months down. You're going to only have me complain for 12 more months. Are you with me? All right, my friends, as always, like if you like. Join us if you haven't. Subscribe. Thank you so much for checking in, for even giving me your time. It's such a blessing to me. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you, especially in prayer. And until we talk again, my friends, all the way back here, know that you are blessed